We've been told that progress means movement, that faster is better, that the man who sleeps less, scrolls more, and stays busy wins. But what if that's a lie? What if the world isn't really moving fast? It's just being sold speed. The truth is, fear has become the fuel of the modern world. Fear of missing out, fear of being irrelevant, fear of falling behind. And we buy it every single day. You wake up, check your phone before your eyes even adjust to the light. Notifications, headlines, chaos. Someone richer, someone fitter, someone younger doing more than you. Your heart races, not because you're in danger, but because your mind believes you are. The pace of the world isn't natural, it's engineered. Every app, every ad, every headline whispers the same message. If you slow down, you lose. But what are we really losing? Maybe it's not opportunity. Maybe it's ourselves. The modern man is trapped in invisible chains, crafted from comparison and noise. He's running on a treadmill powered by fear, sweating for approval he doesn't even believe in. The world says, be more. But no one tells you to just be. There's a moment in every man's life when he feels the burnout creeping in, when the constant flood of information drowns his sense of purpose, when he looks in the mirror and doesn't see a man anymore, just a performer, an algorithmic ghost chasing dopamine. You tell yourself you're busy, but deep down, you're just afraid of being still. Because stillness would force you to confront how little of this fast world actually matters. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." The Stoics understood something our modern world has forgotten. The external world is chaos, but peace is internal. Fear sells because it convinces you that control lies outside of you, in trends, in headlines, in others' approval. But control has always been internal. The man who governs his perception governs his world. Let's reframe this. The world doesn't move fast. The illusion of speed is created by attention theft. What's truly moving fast isn't time. It's your focus being scattered into 1,000 fragments. And when focus fractures, so does strength. The fastest world cannot shake a still mind. The most chaotic environment cannot break a centered man. That is what the ancients knew. The battlefield outside matters less than the discipline within. Here's what you can do. Take one day, just one, and refuse to participate in the noise. Turn off your notifications. Don't check the market. Don't scroll for validation. Let silence stretch. Feel the discomfort of slowness. Because that discomfort is detox. It's your nervous system learning peace again. In that silence, listen to your thoughts, your fears, your genuine desires. You'll start to realize most of your urgency wasn't yours. It was borrowed. A product you were sold. Every man needs a ritual of resistance. A practice that pulls him away from the current. For some, it's lifting weights without music. For others, it's walking at dawn while the world still sleeps. The point isn't what you do. It's that you reclaim your rhythm from a world trying to monetize your attention. When you move at your own pace, you become untouchable. The noise loses its grip. Because the truth is, the world doesn't move fast, it moves noisy. And there's a difference. Speed without direction is chaos. But a man with clarity can move slowly and still arrive sooner than one who sprints blind. Slow is smooth, and smooth becomes fast. Fear sells because it steals your time, your calm, your focus. But none of those are for sale if you choose to keep them. So the next time you feel that pressure, that invisible pull to do more, post more, hustle harder, stop. Breathe. Ask yourself, who benefits from my anxiety? The answer will reveal the lie. The world doesn't move fast because of progress. It moves fast because fear is profitable. Be the man who walks through this world with quiet certainty. Who doesn't need to shout to be heard? Who can stand still while everyone else runs? Because stillness is not weakness, it's power. The kind of power that builds empires, raises families, and changes generations. You were not designed to run endlessly. You were designed to endure, to create, to think, to move with purpose. So slow down, warrior. Let the world spin as it will. Find your stillness in the storm. Because the man who refuses to be sold fear cannot be controlled. And when the music swells and the world keeps rushing past you, remember this: you are not behind. You are not late. You are simply awake. And that makes you faster than anyone still running in fear. Every man believes he's running toward success. But look closer, and you'll see that most are just running away from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. The modern world disguises this panic as ambition. But it's not purpose that drives us, it's avoidance. We sprint because we're terrified of slowing down long enough to see what's actually chasing us. You can feel it. That restless energy in your chest every time you open your phone. The silent panic when you see someone your age with more money, more followers, more validation. The constant background noise that says you should be doing more. You call it motivation, but it's not. It's anxiety disguised as drive. It's fear wearing the mask of progress. And the system knows it. Fear is the perfect fuel for productivity. Because fear sells. It sells courses, products, lifestyles. It sells you the illusion of control while quietly draining your peace. It convinces you that your worth is conditional, that you must prove it, post it, and perform it daily. You're not chasing dreams anymore. You're escaping insecurity. And no matter how much you achieve, that fear doesn't fade. It multiplies. Because fear fed by validation grows hungrier, not satisfied. There's a Japanese proverb that says, "Fear is only as deep as the mind allows." The samurai knew this truth well. Fear thrives in the mind that refuses stillness. When a warrior learns to observe fear without feeding it, he transforms it into focus. In battle, fear sharpens the senses, but panic kills the warrior. The same rule applies to life. Modern men are not short on opportunity. They're short on inner stillness. They drown in the noise of what if and not yet, never realizing that peace was always a skill, not a circumstance. Let's bring this ancient truth to the present. In 2025, fear doesn't roar. It whispers through screens. It disguises itself as inspiration, urgency, trends. It keeps you checking for something that will never come, certainty. But life was never meant to be certain. That's what makes it powerful. Certainty breeds stagnation. Fear of the unknown is the birthplace of growth. The problem isn't fear itself, it's how you react to it. Reframe your relationship with fear. Instead of seeing it as an enemy, treat it as a messenger. When you feel that tension in your gut, that unease before a decision, pause and listen. Fear is often showing you exactly where you need to go. Not away from, but toward. The places you fear most, rejection, vulnerability, failure, are often the exact places that hide your potential. Ancient warriors call this walking into the dragon's mouth. Because true power isn't found in comfort, it's found in confrontation. Here's what you can do. Every morning, write down one thing you're avoiding. One conversation, one task, one truth. Then ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I do this? Write that down too. Once fear is named, it loses most of its power. You'll notice something interesting. The worst-case scenario your mind paints is rarely real. It's a projection, a protective story. And like all stories, it can be rewritten. Confronting fear doesn't mean eliminating it. It means moving anyway. It means doing the thing even when your hands shake. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. The Stoics call this amor fati, to love your fate, to embrace what comes. To see fear not as an obstacle, but as part of the path. The man who does this becomes unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because his spirit grows stronger. So take this with you. Every fear you face consciously adds another layer to your armor. Every fear you avoid weakens you, quietly. The world wants you reactive, distracted, uncertain. But fear can become your compass if you let it. Instead of running from what you dread, run toward it. Not recklessly, but deliberately. Because that's where evolution happens, where boys become men and men become leaders. And when the noise rises again, when the algorithm reminds you that you're behind, that you're not enough, breathe. Remember that fear is a signal, not a sentence. It's the universe testing your readiness. It's life whispering, are you ready to grow? The man who learns to see fear as fuel will never need external motivation again. He will not chase validation because he moves from purpose, not panic. The world may keep moving fast, but he will move right. The difference is direction, not speed. So let the world sell fear. Let it scream scarcity, urgency, danger. You know better now. You know that fear only controls those who try to escape it. Stand your ground. Face it. Use it. Because the moment you stop running from fear and start walking with it, that's when you finally start living free. When the music swells, when the lights dim, remember this truth. The man who looks fear in the eye and keeps walking is already ahead of the world that's still running from shadows. We live in a world where distraction is the new addiction. Every vibration in your pocket, every flashing notification, every endless scroll, it's all designed to keep your mind spinning, your focus fractured. The world moves fast because you're never allowed to pause. And when a man can't pause, he can't think. And when he can't think, he can't lead. That's how fear sells, not through force, but through noise. Think about it. The modern man wakes up tired, already behind on a race he never agreed to run. His mornings aren't quiet reflections anymore. They're digital battlegrounds. Messages, metrics, obligations. He feels like if he doesn't respond instantly, the world will leave him behind. He trades his peace for pace, his depth for speed. The irony? He's moving fast, but going nowhere. There's a subtle pain in this. You feel it when you realize you can't sit in silence without reaching for your phone. When you need constant stimulation just to feel alive. When solitude feels like punishment, not power. That's not life, that's mental slavery. You're not thriving in change, you're drowning in it. And the world tells you this is normal. That hustle is holy. That rest is weakness. But deep down, you know something is wrong. The ancient philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." The wisdom of the Tao was balance, not speed, not force, but flow. The river doesn't rush, yet it shapes mountains. The tree doesn't grow overnight, yet it stands unshaken through storms. The ancients understood that slowness is not stagnation, it's mastery. A samurai didn't draw his sword quickly, he drew it precisely. The modern man has lost this discipline. He mistakes motion for progress, reaction for power. Here's the truth. Distraction is fear in disguise. When you can't face your own thoughts, you fill your life with noise. You scroll, you multitask, you chase, because silence might reveal the truth that you've lost connection with yourself. But here's the good news, you can reclaim it. You can slow down without falling behind. You can detach from the chaos without disappearing from the world. You just have to remember who owns your attention. Try this, pick one moment every day and protect it fiercely. A morning walk without headphones. A meal without a screen. 10 minutes of silence where you let your mind wander freely. It'll feel uncomfortable at first, like withdrawal. That's because you've been overdosed on dopamine. But over time, your brain will recalibrate. Your thoughts will start to settle. And when they do, you'll begin to hear something you've forgotten, your own voice. Stillness is the most rebellious act in a world that profits from your distraction. When you are still, the system loses control over you. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop consuming and start creating. The man who masters focus masters himself. And when you master yourself, the speed of the world stops mattering. Because you realize it was never about the pace. It was always about the purpose. The ancients practiced meditation, prayer, silence, not because they were bored, but because they understood that clarity is born in quiet. The Stoics spent time in solitude to remember what was within their control. The monks withdrew to the mountains not to escape the world, but to understand it. You don't have to disappear to find peace. You just have to stop running from it. The world will never slow down for you. That's the trap. It will always demand more work, more hustle, more noise. But you can choose differently. You can choose presence. Presence turns ordinary moments into sacred ones. It turns work into art. It turns chaos into order. The man who is fully present is powerful because he cannot be manipulated by fear. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't check your phone. Sit up, breathe, feel the ground under your feet. Ask yourself, what deserves my attention today? Not what's trending, not what's urgent, but what's meaningful. The answer will guide you toward peace. The world moves fast because fear sells. But calm doesn't. Peace doesn't. Depth doesn't. Those things can't be monetized. which is why they're the rarest forms of power left. And that's what you're after. Not speed, not applause, but quiet strength. The kind of strength that doesn't need validation because it already knows its worth. When the noise rises, when your mind itches to check, to scroll, to react, pause. Remember that every second you reclaim from distraction is a piece of your life taken back from fear. The world may run on chaos, but you don't have to. You can walk in calm and still arrive first. And when the music swells, when you stand at the edge of another loud day, remember this. The world may move fast, but the wise man moves deliberately. Because in stillness, he finds clarity. And in clarity, he finds freedom. That's the difference between the man sold fear and the man who sells peace. One chases time, the other commands it. Every generation has its enemy. For our ancestors, it was survival, nature, famine, war. For us, it's comfort. Comfort is the silent killer of modern masculinity. It whispers, "You've earned it. You deserve to relax. Take it easy." And slowly, it takes your edge. It dulls your instincts. It robs you of the hunger that built empires. The world moves fast because fear sells, but what it really sells is comfort disguised as freedom. The pain is subtle. It doesn't hit you all at once. It creeps in quietly, like rust. You start choosing convenience over challenge. You start opting for screens over struggle. The body softens. The mind weakens. And before long, you've become domesticated, tamed by technology, sedated by entertainment. You don't fight lions anymore, but you fight the urge to get off the couch. You don't battle enemies, you battle your own apathy. The world tells you this is progress. That being safe, connected, and comfortable means you've made it. But comfort isn't peace. It's sedation. You weren't built to sit still under LED light for 12 hours a day. You were built to sweat, to strive, to create, to fail and try again. That fire inside you, the one that wants to build, to conquer, to rise, it doesn't die from lack of opportunity. It dies from lack of challenge. Epictetus once said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." The Stoics didn't pray for easier lives. They prayed for stronger backs. They knew that struggle was sacred. It was through hardship that a man discovered his essence. The modern world flipped that truth. It taught us that happiness is the absence of struggle, that meaning can be found in convenience. But ease breeds emptiness. The harder the climb, the greater the man who ascends. Let's reframe this. The world sells fear to keep you dependent, on comfort, on systems, on distractions. Every ad, every algorithm tells you that discomfort is something to avoid. That pain means you're doing something wrong. But in truth, pain is your body's way of saying you're alive. Discomfort is the signal of growth. When you numb it, you numb your potential. You need discomfort. You need the cold shower, the early morning alarm, the long run when your legs burn, the conversation you don't want to have. These things don't weaken you. They reveal you. Because in those moments, when everything in you wants to quit, you meet the part of yourself that's still untamed. That part is your true self, not the one seeking comfort, but the one craving challenge. Try this. Choose one act of controlled discomfort every day. Something that makes you a little uneasy. It could be lifting heavier, waking up earlier, sitting in silence, or even speaking your truth when it's easier to stay quiet. Make discomfort your discipline. You'll find that fear loses its power when you voluntarily step into it. Because if you can choose discomfort on your terms, the world can't weaponize it against you. The samurai had a practice called misogi, purification through hardship. They'd stand under freezing waterfalls or train in brutal conditions, not because they loved suffering, but because they loved mastery. Every hardship was a spiritual cleanse. It stripped away weakness, excuses, and ego. You can practice your own misogi today. It doesn't need to be dramatic, just deliberate. Let struggle refine you, not define you. The comfort you seek will never give you the fulfillment you crave. Because men don't find meaning in ease, they find it in effort. The modern lie says success means having everything. The truth is success means needing less. When you simplify, when you strip away the excess, you begin to see what actually matters: your health, your focus, your purpose, your integrity. So when the world sells you fear, remember what it's really selling: the avoidance of struggle. Don't buy it. Seek the challenge instead. Lift when you're tired. Create when you're uninspired. Speak when you're afraid. Because every time you resist comfort, you become more dangerous. Not violent, powerful. A man who cannot be sedated by comfort is a man who cannot be controlled. The world moves fast because it runs on fear. But the man who walks steadily through discomfort, he's unshaken. He doesn't need to rush because he's building something deeper than speed. He's building resilience. And resilience is timeless. So when you feel that temptation to take the easy path, stop. Breathe. Remember that comfort is the slowest form of decay. Choose the harder road. The road that makes your heart race, your muscles ache, your soul awaken. Because that's where greatness hides, behind the walls of resistance. And when the music swells and the camera fades to black, let this echo in your mind. Comfort kills potential, but challenge resurrects it. Be the man who chooses the storm, not the shelter. Because only in the storm do you remember who you are. They say information is power. But in 2025, information is noise. We are drowning in advice and data, in content that promises to change our lives, yet leaves us paralyzed. The modern man is not starved of knowledge, he's starved of clarity. The world moves fast because fear sells, and nothing feeds fear like confusion. If you don't know who you are or what you want, or what you stand for, you can be sold anything. Everywhere you look, someone's trying to tell you how to live. The perfect routine, the secret mindset, the next hack to become your best self. You scroll, you watch, you absorb, but deep down you don't feel stronger. You feel smaller. Because the more voices you let in, the quieter your own becomes. You're not inspired anymore, you're overwhelmed. And that's exactly how fear wins. Confused men are easy to control. The pain of this era isn't ignorance. It's overstimulation. You have 1,000 paths and no map. You have the illusion of progress without direction. You're told to chase success but never taught what success actually means. You want peace, but the world tells you peace is passive. You want meaning, but the world sells you productivity. You want love, but the world rewards attention. And somewhere in the noise, you forget that clarity was always your true compass. The ancient philosopher Seneca said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." The Stoics understood that without direction, all effort is wasted. The modern man doesn't lack ambition, he lacks aim. He's rowing hard in every direction, hoping effort alone will bring meaning. But energy without purpose becomes exhaustion. Movement without clarity becomes chaos. Reframe this, your clarity is your weapon. In a world built on distraction, a man who knows what he wants is dangerous. Because he can't be manipulated by fear. He doesn't chase trends, he sets them. He doesn't get pulled by every headline, algorithm, or opinion. He moves with intention. And that's what separates leaders from followers, direction. Here's how you reclaim clarity. Subtract, don't add. Stop consuming more input. Start filtering. Ask yourself, what actually matters to me? Not what impresses others, not what's trending, but what feels true in your gut. Write it down. Reduce your focus to 3 things: your health, your craft, and your character. Everything else is noise. Because if you master those 3, everything else falls into place. Start small. Each morning, before you open your phone, ask one question. What must be done today that aligns with who I want to become? Not what makes you busy, what makes you better. Your life isn't changed by what you consume, but by what you execute. Knowledge without action is just digital dust. Clarity begins where distraction ends. The samurai followed Kaizen, continuous improvement through disciplined simplicity. Every stroke of the sword was studied, repeated, refined. No wasted motion, no scattered focus. That's how mastery is built, not through complexity, but consistency. You can apply the same principle. Choose one goal and devote yourself to it completely. 1 hour of deep focus is worth more than 10 hours of scattered effort. The modern man has been trained to multitask, to divide his time, his focus, his soul. But a divided man is a weakened man. Focus is not a skill anymore. It's a superpower. The world doesn't reward the loudest, it rewards the most disciplined. Because discipline creates peace, and peace breeds confidence. When you have clarity, you stop competing. You simply build. So when fear tells you you're behind, remember, You're not behind, you're just distracted. The race was never real. The only game that matters is the one within. The man who aligns his energy with his values is unstoppable because he no longer needs external approval. He is his own compass. Fear thrives in confusion. So your job is to simplify until only truth remains. Simplify your environment, your habits, your inputs. Keep what builds you, remove what drains you. When you subtract everything unnecessary, what remains is essence, raw, authentic power. That's the version of you the world can't sell to. That's the man who moves with conviction while others move with noise. The world will always sell you fear. Fear of missing out, fear of being average, fear of not keeping up. But the antidote is clarity. When you know your mission, fear becomes irrelevant. You stop reacting to the world, and the world starts reacting to you. So take a step back. Silence the noise. Reclaim your attention. Choose depth over speed. Let your actions speak with precision, not panic. Because in a world addicted to chaos, the calm man wins. And when the music swells, when the lights fade and the noise dissolves into silence, remember this. The man who moves with clarity does not chase the world, he shapes it. Because while fear sells speed, clarity builds legacy. One day, you'll look back and realize the world never truly moved fast. It just distracted you into thinking it did. It made you believe that life was a race, that stillness was failure, that fear was a sign to stop instead of a signal to rise. But the truth? The world moves fast because fear sells. And every time you believe that fear, you sold a piece of yourself. But this is where you stop selling. The modern man lives in a storm of noise. Deadlines, notifications, expectations. Everyone telling him who to be, what to want, how to act. He's expected to hustle but stay humble, to be stoic but emotionally aware, to work hard yet never show fatigue. The result? He's exhausted. Not from the work itself, but from the endless pretending. The fear of being seen as weak has made him weaker. The fear of slowing down has made him lost. You felt it, that quiet ache that follows every achievement. The moment after the applause fades, when you realize the satisfaction never lasts. You get what you wanted, but the emptiness remains. Because everything you chased came from fear, not from truth. You feared insignificance, so you overworked. You feared rejection, so you hid your real voice. You feared failure, so you played safe. Fear sold you safety, and you paid with your authenticity. But the ancients warned us about this. Heraclitus said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man." Change is inevitable. The world will always shift, evolve, transform. But the warrior adapts, not out of fear, but out of awareness. The wise man does not resist the flow. He moves within it. Fear makes you chase control, but wisdom teaches you to find rhythm. Reframe this. You don't need to escape fear. You need to understand it. Because fear is not the enemy. It's a compass. It points toward the edge of your comfort, the threshold of your evolution. Every man who ever built something great, every warrior, artist, inventor, leader, walked alongside fear. The difference? They used it as fire, not a cage. You are no different. You just forgot that courage was already within you, waiting to be called. Here's what you can do. Next time you feel fear, don't run. Don't fight it. Observe it. Ask yourself, what is this fear protecting me from? Then ask, what is it keeping me from becoming? When you name your fear, you strip it of its disguise. You realize it's not a wall, it's a mirror. It reflects the parts of you that are ready to grow. Practice what the samurai called seishin, cultivating a still spirit in the midst of chaos. You can train it in simple ways. When anxiety rises, breathe deeply. When pressure builds, slow your movements. When anger stirs, listen before speaking. Each time you choose stillness over reaction, you reclaim power from fear. Because control begins not with domination, but with awareness. The modern world glorifies speed, but true mastery is rhythm. Every warrior knows when to strike and when to wait. Every craftsman knows when to build and when to rest. Every man must learn the same, when to move fast and when to be still. Because speed without purpose is chaos, but stillness with intention is strength. Understand this, the world is not your enemy. Fear is not your enemy. Your enemy is forgetting who you are in the middle of both. You were born for more than reaction. You were built for direction. You are not meant to be a product of fear's marketplace. You are meant to be its disruption. So begin again, slowly. Reclaim your breath. Reclaim your focus. Reclaim your fire. Let the world spin. Let the markets rise and fall. Let the noise scream and simply remain grounded, purposeful, unmoved. Because the man who can stand still while the world races past him is the one who truly understands movement. Fear will always knock, but you don't have to answer. Let it stand there. Let it whisper. Smile at it. Because now you know fear doesn't control the world. It sells it. And you're done buying. In this moment, as the story closes, imagine the music rising, the city lights flickering outside your window, the world still spinning at impossible speed, and you sitting there in stillness, calm, aware, untouchable. You realize you never needed to keep up with the world. You only needed to wake up to yourself. So let this be your reminder. You are not late, you are not behind, you are not broken. You are simply becoming. The world moves fast because fear sells, but the man who moves with purpose sells truth. And truth, brother, will always outlast fear.